So Star Wars Battlefront, that's the topic of today, and the gameplay in the background is actually some GTA 5. I don't have Star Wars Battlefront on my PC, I've got them on my PS2, so I can't really record them. It's just me and Hoodoo being those guys that you hate in every GTA 5 server, and guys that I usually hate as well, but I thought I'd see what the fuss was about and get a big fuck-off military vehicle and cause havoc. And we actually managed to get away as well, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, Battlefront is a bit strange to take, really. I'm not sure what to think from what we've seen so far, which, granted, is very little. But, like many people, I was a huge fan of the original Battlefront games. I played them with my best mate. We'd sit next to each other on the couch, controller in hand, and just split screen them for hours on end. And I think, things like the Bespin platforms, Bespin Cloud City, even some of the Clone Wars maps like Camino, even though those films did kind of suck, they did sort of create a great universe for video games. So I've spent many an hour on those games, and we've all wanted a Battlefront 3, and a few years ago there were leaked images of Battlefront 3 concept stuff being developed by LucasArts, but obviously the project fell through. I'm not sure why. The money was always going to be there, but it just sort of fell through. And then, eventually, we got the announcement we were all waiting for, that Star Wars Battlefront was coming back to life, albeit in the hands of EA and DICE. Not the most reliable people on recent records, but they have made some great games in the past, Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2, 2142, Battlefield 1942, so many great shooters. So the game isn't necessarily in bad hands, but what concerns me is the stuff that we're hearing about. The fact that there's going to be no campaign, no galactic conquest, fewer players, no space battles. All the things that made the original Battlefronts great are just being cut out. And people like me, for ages, have wanted to see a new Star Wars Battlefront that is bigger, better, more epic and more chaotic than the original, not smaller and prettier. Now, I'm not saying I think Battlefront is going to be a bad game. It can probably be an extremely good Star Wars game. But people like me, when they hear Star Wars Battlefront, think of one thing, and that's the kind of game that we got when the first one came out. I think it was either 13 or 14 years ago. EA and DICE themselves have said it's going to be a rebirth, a new sort of angle, which is alright, but you are talking about the Star Wars community, taking out the campaign because that's what Battlefield players complain about. You're not dealing with Battlefield players, make a game for the Star Wars fans. The Star Wars universe is so vast, there's so much story you could spin from that. Why wouldn't you have a great campaign involved into this game? Yes, it might make the multiplayer better, but you shouldn't have to sacrifice campaign for multiplayer. But like I said, I think it's not that I think it's going to be a bad game, but the sole reason, because it's going to be so different to the original, the only things I can see that are similar to the original are the fact that 1, it's a Star Wars game, and 2, it's got third and first person. That seems to be about it, really. It seems the only reason they've gone for Battlefront is just to get hype and get money. If you call it Star Wars Battlefront, people will buy it. It seems to me that can be the only reason they want the hype of Star Wars Battlefront, and that's how they can get the money. Do you know what? Don't call it Star Wars Battlefront. It's as simple as that. Call it something else, because there will be so many people expecting this to be Star Wars Battlefront 3. I mean, think about how epic it was flying into a Star Destroyer and taking it out from within. That's not going to be in the new game. So many people will be expecting it to be like that no matter how good the game is, there will be a lot of people who cannot see that if it is not what they are wanting from a Star Wars Battlefront sequel, if that's really what it's going to be. So I think by calling it Star Wars Battlefront, they've really sort of shot themselves in the foot, because it just gets the hype up from fans who have wanted a game for 10 years, and it's not going to be like that, or at least based on what we've seen, it's not going to be like that. And this really could hurt EA and hurt DICE, because upsetting the Battlefield community is one thing, but upsetting the Star Wars community, you're going to have a shitstorm on your hands. So like I said, this video probably sounds quite negative. It's not that I'm not looking forward to the game. I do expect a good Star Wars game, but I think it should have been entered as a new Star Wars franchise. They could have done what they wanted without having people expecting things of them. If they just called it Star Wars something else, there would be no expectation for this to be anything like any other Star Wars games. By calling it Star Wars Battlefront, this really could come around and hurt them and prevent a lot of people seeing any good in what could be a very enjoyable title. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think as well. It's been a while since I've done a commentary, so if you made it all the way to the end, just let me know whether or not you still like me to do commentaries. And in the meantime, you guys take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you all very soon. I want to